we can go, yes? Okay, because we will make documentation about this. And the sandwich talks are our possibility to speak a little bit more than these 3 minutes with our filmmakers. And we have picked subjects that might reunite or might cover all the films. We are from the selection committees. I am Eric Lemke. I'm from the National Selection Committee, and
I'm Vincent Fossa from the International Selection Committee. And yeah, I mean, we have the pleasure to have 4 filmmakers here, 3 from the national competition and 1 from the international competition. And it's great to have so many of you here this afternoon to listen to this talk about the families we choose. And what that means, that's something we're going to find out together now.
yes, and to get an impression who's actually here, we see a little, some seconds or a minute or 2 from the films. And we start with Jonathan Schellekens, Anthony Schellekens. Anthony, you come from Den Haag, from the Netherlands, and you actually are a musician. So this is your first film. I watched your film and tried to find out if you did the music for the film or if I could see the musician inside your film, but I discovered instead a lot of Schellekens in the credits, so this is kind of a family project. Tell us a little bit about the film, your first film, and how it came about.
Thank you, sir, very much. So it's not quite my first film, it's my second. But it was my first family project film, so to speak. As we all know, Corona hit the fan, and I wrote 2 scripts, and I could throw them in the bin, and realized I had to do it all different if I want to shoot during Corona. So I made out of the note Eintübend, I made it happen that I could film, and it was by asking my own family. So the film, if you see it, you will get to know my parents, my siblings, my girlfriend, and a very good friend. And if we talk about music, the wonderful music is composed by my brother.
You prepared a scene from your film that we will show. Can we see the scene? Okay.
Okay, this is the place where it will be. In the middle, you see the circle, that's where the coffin is put in.
Maybe you guys can check the protocols. Yes, Koken? Ja. Follow me, put your lecture here.
Ja, eerst benen.
Mila, can you sit in, please?
Is this the real box?
Yes, this is the box we will use. And anything else? You're just wondering about the lectern.
Do you want to say what it is about for those who didn't see it?
Well, it's about a young man that is chosen to be the sacrifice to keep climate crisis at bay, and he has to decide, is he going to be the sacrifice for the greater good, or does he choose for his secret life? tell, not much more, because you should see the film.
Thank you. We're going to continue with Huda Taheri, from a filmmaker from Iran, now based in Berlin for quite a while. You're here with your film Mother Prays All Day Long, all night long? All day. All day and all night. In the national competition as well. And family is in the title, the mother. And at the same time, your film talks about motherhood in different ways, but also very much focuses on the chosen family. And it's a very personal story that you're telling as well. Yeah, maybe you can just say a few words about your film as well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, is it on? No. Is it now? No.
It's not working.
Hello?
Yeah.
Is it now on? Okay. So, thank you very much. Yes, it's actually like, bottom line is a story of an Iranian refugee woman who wants to marry her female friend in order to be able to stay in Germany. But the female friend gets pregnant and the marriage is in question for her. So, yeah, and I was very much interested in this fake marriage as a topic, because usually it starts as a fake marriage. I have seen a lot of friends around me who went this way, and usually it starts as a fake marriage, but people usually end up having like some kind of a strange hierarchy. Sometimes it ends up having some sexual interaction and so on, so it doesn't remain really fake. On one hand, on the other hand, I think marriage is always fake because it's a paper at the end of the day. So this intersection between bureaucracy, sexual intimacy, and family, children is like very much, it was very much my concern.
I think there's loads to unpack just in this 1 minute. Loads of interesting topics that we can pick up on later on. Perhaps we can see a clip from Mother Prays All Day Long.
But I think they don't speak any language to understand. I promise on a bigger screen it looks better. So.
Okay, our next filmmaker comes from a collective of 2 filmmakers, Neozoom, and you made the film Lake of Fire. You always work with a kind of collage technique. Michaela Metzger, and your companion is Friederike Kersten. She will also join us on Friday or on Saturday. So this is actually the 3rd part of a trilogy about Christianity, and all your films circle around the Anthropocene. So social questions of our impact as humans on our planet, on our life, and in this film, it's about hell. Yeah. So maybe let's just have a little impression of the film.
God will never. God will never, 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 never stop loving you.
God loves you.
God loves you.
I'm begging you, please.
Hell is no joke.
This is real.
Have you made preparation? Have you made preparation? Have you prepared yourself for that day? For it is coming. It is coming. And there's not one thing you can do to stop it. That day is coming. Are you ready? You say, well, now, preacher, I just don't want to think about it. Not thinking about it's not going to change anything. Denying it is not going to change it. Saying it's not going to happen except for some long time off into the future. That's not so. Teenagers die, young people die, kids die, people die in the midlife, they die at all ages. The shock is waking up where you don't expect to be.
Yes, now I should say something about that. Yes, yeah, we are offering insight in this trilogy into this family group of the so-called evangelicals, and in that part we are exploring the idea of hell, or their idea of hell, and we are combining their ideas and their point of views with the events of the climate emergency situation. So they have a completely different point of view on these events, because they are thinking these are signs of God, the signs of God that the world is coming to an end and that Jesus Christ is coming and taking them up to heaven. So during the pandemic, that was really a phenomenon, an internet phenomenon on YouTube. We found a lot of YouTube clips about rapture dreams, about disbelievers who are thinking, or who dreamed that Jesus Christ is coming, and yeah, and we immediately thought we had to do something with that. And in the film, as I said, we combined or contrasted the two point of views in a way. So, of course, our point of view is that it's man-made, but these people, they are thinking it's a sign of God, and we can, or they can do nothing about it, and to do something about it would be a sin, more or less.
I wrote about the work of your collective that you explore how well prepared or not well prepared we as humans are for the future with concepts like this that are very human-centered, and religion that is very human-centered, yes. Mm.
Yeah, in our first film, Little Lower Than the Edges of the trilogy, we thought a little bit more about the Genesis, so where God puts the human species on the top, and yeah, we questioning it, and we also, or I not grew up in that very religion, and I realized while working for that film that our whole Western society is based on this tradition. It's also me. So I'm also looking in this kind of, or through this kind of glasses, and yeah, we were questioning it.
Here are also already themes of social constructs that we can unpick, which obviously also have to do with family in a way. I mean, you're talking about a very, very big family, or that conceives of themselves as a big family in a way. But of course, last but not least, Jorge Cadena who is joining us from Geneva in Switzerland.
From
Colombia. From Colombia. And you're here with the film in the international competition, Flores del Otro Patio, Flowers from Another Garden, in the international competition program #1. And you're, in a way, also dealing with a family that is chosen, because you're always, as a filmmaker, I think, as all of you do, you're obviously looking to work with people that become close to you, and at the same time, your protagonists need a family because they need to be safe in a hostile environment. Perhaps you can talk a little bit about your film, then we see a clip, and then we start the conversation.
Yeah, thank you for this invitation. Yeah, Port Cadena. So the film is the group of queer people who that with the performance extravagance queer fight against the coal mine, the biggest coal mine in Colombia, one of the bigger in the world. So yeah, actually, it's really like a filmmaker. You need to build your family, the people you feel good to work, and yeah, and especially for this project, I just come back to Colombia next for 3 years without Colombia because the pandemic time. So I come back only for make the scouting for my film I am writing right now, my first feature film. And then I spent 2 months and a half. There the moment we decided to make the short film. I write with my sister. She studies sociology. We make each film together. She was there, and we write the short version of this. And then we're shooting. And this moment, the start, the base of the project is all the time my sister and me. And next we work with a lot of people I know in my city because we made this without money. And then was really close friends, some people artists but not working in the cinema. We built this with a group of activists and the artists from my city that I am really interested in these people. The food was making for my grandmother. And I was really close family stuff. And also the film is the group of five guys, five person, gay, homosexual, and then they are looking for family. Actually, in Colombia, the patriarchal world, the homophobic world, everywhere, but in Colombia is stronger, I guess. So they are looking to be safe in the group. Yeah, of course. And the last. This is the 5 characters. 3 are really close friends, for 20 years friend, and the other is people, the artists I was interested in and invited in this project. And yeah, I tried before to shooting the film, when the people are close in the film, they spend time together. So in the pre-production, I try to build this family with these 5 people, spend the time together, eat together. I don't know, lost the time together to spend time to build this film. Yeah.
Perhaps we can see a clip from Flores del Otro
Falta de agua, los ríos se han contaminado durante 30 años.
They have the image.
Sowas kann passieren, leider, wenn man den falschen Browser nimmt. Das ist Google Chrome, vielleicht dann lieber mal Safari. Also hatte ich das Problem mal.
Das dauert jetzt kurz eine Minute, ihr könnt ja nochmal was erzählen.
Ja, das dauert.
We can talk about the title.
Yeah,
Yes.
If you want to talk about the title, no, but I think that's perhaps something we can start with to sort of ease into this conversation that can easily become very intense. Let's see. But what you just said links very much to what Hoda was saying in the beginning. How, and what I think is very important to you in your work as well. How do you relate to the people that you work with? And why do you choose the people you work with? And how do you negotiate the hierarchy in working? And how do you create this intimacy? I mean, in your case, it's very particular because you kind of, as a collective, work non-hierarchical in a way, and there's not this idea of the director, whatever that means. Yeah, who would like to start just with some thoughts? I don't want to be the teacher. Yeah, you can start.
Yeah, it's true. We are working. We are not coming from the. Our background is not the film academy. We are coming from an art school, and we made a project together, an urban art project. That was our first project, and then we started to make film. And so I think with this background, but I don't know. We are not thinking about who is the person who is the director, so we are always discussing things together, but it is a hard work, so that I can say. It's not always easy, we are also struggling, and we are discussing a lot, so yeah. And it has ups and downs, and we are also found out that it's better to also that one of us is the one who is editing and who is more or less like a director, but yeah, it depends always, it's changing.
And you actually live in different cities, yes?
Yes,
You live in Dresden and Friederike lives in Berlin.
Yeah, so the pandemic was not a problem for us, we already knew the situation, and yes, yeah, but that makes it. So with that situation, that we are both in two different cities, we had to be very precise. So if we are discussing things, we had to be really thinking a lot how to discuss it. And yeah, I don't know. To be in different cities, it is really very useful to be very precise.
Does it feel like family?
Yes, of course. Yeah, I feel like it feels like in a relationship. Yeah.
And I think what's obviously different for the three of you is that you're working with found footage, so you're not working on set, so to say. Well, all of you are working on set, so you have to build a different kind of relationship with more people. Can you perhaps tell us a little bit why you hinted at it, why you chose to film with your family or work with your family, but given that it's not your first film, perhaps you can also tell us a little bit how different it might have been from not working with your family.
Yeah, very much so. So 6 weeks before I should start shooting, I came up with this whole new idea. And as it was COVID, Corona, I need to find people who am I trusting so much that they would be crazy enough to jump with me on this project and start shooting within 6 weeks where there was no script. And we should live for 13, 14 days in one house. And as my siblings and mother inspired me to become a filmmaker in the first place, I jumped on the opportunity and asked them, although they've never been in front of the camera. And it was not always as easy, as I have a sister who's a documentary filmmaker and a director as well. So she kind of knew to give me tips all along the way. Then I have a very creative film producer's sister who also could give me all the tips I needed to make it work. And a brother in music like myself that had all the ideas about sound. But we were very compressed, super small team, And that's what I really liked during the shoot, that we had maximum 11 people on set, which is quite small. And so we were super flexible, which we also needed to be. And family-wise, yeah, I think I'm blessed with a very nice family. So I cannot tell any stories where we would beat each other up. And I would say this film is also really a collective work, where the DNA of my family is really came to expression in this film. The humor, the lines. We did a lot of improvisation, and yeah, I'll leave it to that.
I just got the sign that we can see it.
El progreso social está en nuestro ADN. Es vital para nosotros el desarrollo.
It's not the time.
More like back?
No more. I think I give the number, I don't remember now, but it's like a 4:30. 35.
Do you see the round number?
Yeah, I see the number.
Ah.
40, 35. No, 4.
You have to go back. You have 5-7.
I don't see the numbers.
Yeah, it was 5-7.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good.
Play?
Yeah.
Falta de agua a los ríos que han contaminado durante 30 años. ¡El progreso para demostrar la tierra contaminada que no se puede cultivar! El desplazamiento forzado de comunidades indígenas y negras. El progreso de la violencia. La proliferación del paramilitarismo. Un asesinato infame. ¡La muerte de los dañaditos!
That performance and the extravagance queer is present is the way to make to find the ways to fight with the coal mine, with the art, with the performance, with the queer reference, but also with the carnival reference, because my city, Barranquilla, is the city with the most important carnival in Colombia. So that's we try to make, and we try to make like I don't know. You need to watch the film to understand this moment, but it's like a metaphor, like the coal mine make live these people, the indigenous people and the Afro-Colombian people, to live with this pollution, with this explosion every day, and yeah, we try to make the metaphor with this performance. Yeah, and you asked before about how built this group of people, and like I want to spend the time with these people, and also I need to feel comfortable with these people. I agree or in the same way, like thinking about and make question about the situation in Colombia. Also is important. Yeah, I forget what the idea
I think we already found out how much strength you get from finding your people, reuniting or in family, and being together against something that is more powerful than you, yes? And this is actually what we see in your film. But then, we talked today in the morning, there is actually a very interesting example in your film, in a real life, that some of this group, one person that was here in blue, right, with the blue dress and hair, he actually goes out of this bubble. One could, in the negative sense, also we find our families, but we also find our bubbles. We communicate in our bubbles and do not go out of the bubbles, and he actually goes out, even that it is dangerous. And he confronts himself with his nonconformist exterior and everything about him. He confronts the people, and he has quite a success with that, right?
Yeah, I need to say something. It's like this character, the main character, is the friend like a long time, and he grew up in this region, really close to the coal mine. His father works in the coal mine, and he is gay, and so he expressed the way to live in the gay way. And then have a lot of inspiration for me, and I work with really close idea, and then this guy has the experiences to try to be out of the normal. That is connected with the idea, the flowers from another garden. We are outside of the normal, no? And and also there are this intersectional idea, like we are gay, but we don't talking about in the film about this. If the world have the problem with this, is the world. But we are happy, approved to be gay, and we fight for against to the coal mine, and then we have two fights together. So yeah. But it's really close to the. I work with the real life of the people. We have an idea with my sister, the question, we are interested in this and this and this, and then we start to spend the time with these people and try to take this person in the project with the opportunity to write the fiction, but it's really close. Like I know how he speaks, what they think, what is the best way he will feel better in the film, and then in the end we build the fiction. But it's really, really close to each humanity in this film.
It's also that idea that you make a film about something that you already know very good. So if one would like to make this film, one should ask you, right? Because you are already someone who can talk about these people, what's going on there. So you are quite a specialist in this.
Yeah, I have many years. I growing up in the region. I have the family really close to the coal mine, so I growing up with this process of change of land. Because when I was child, I have 38 years, and the coal mine have kind of same time like into Colombia. So I saw how the landscape changed, how the people, the quality of life changed the region, and then when I write, everything is out, you know. Yeah. Yeah, and I make already 2 films in this region. Yeah, 2 short films.
By the way, if there's any questions from your side, always shout. Always, without exception. Now we've talked a lot about family being a form of support and being a really good thing in a way, something that we all seek, and something that we all want, and that's I don't mean to question that we need family. But in your film, Hilda, family is also a burden in a way. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I have a bit of problem with when you need to mix this bureaucratic and sexual thing and emotional thing and children into one package, and I find it difficult. I'm just me myself. I find it difficult that it functions. And like I cannot imagine this scenario just as a scenario that it functions. Because I mean, it's too much to have in one pot to how do we make it work. But the problem is in the other alternative ways that we have at the moment also still is like, because a lot of question with the family, I mean, it's cool like we can call anything family, but at the end of the day, it's like when you're sick, can you call this person, like which you call family in your school, in a festival, or anywhere else, to come and help with something, or do you have like a possibility to reproduce with this other person or no? And if you have a possibility which is not like a conventional possibility, would it still work as much as a conventional possibility of reproduction would work? So for example, in the film, okay, there's this woman who wanted to marry me for the paper, but she's pregnant. Okay, there are questions. Okay, if I am married with this girl, officially by the paper, she's also having custody of my child. So do I want to trust her, this refugee who just arrived like maybe a month ago with a bag of Lidl to Germany with my child and to have a custody of my child? So it's a very valid question, I find. I mean, from her side, if she has this question. So, I don't know, I find it very complicated and I don't find yet the answer. And I think indeed between LGBT communities, gays are the best because they found they broke a lot of burdens that was before, and I love gays. But I think it's still because they were this first group who broke this, so they needed to recreate a structure that the society accepts. And for that structure, they needed to take a heterosexual structure, just put it as two men. So, okay, we have like now a family, which is two men, but okay, this family, like how do this family wants to have children? How are we going to, this glue? Because sexual attraction can be a glue, but I'm not sure how long can it last. Can it last 20 years? I don't know. I mean, I cannot imagine it lasts like, be interested in someone sexually for 20 years. I find it really like tiring and like such a burden. And I think we still didn't find this alternative answer to have this. And if, okay, a gay couple, like two men, for example, or two women marry each other and then they want to have children. Okay, one of these people are always like have a biological connection with the child, plus someone outside of this family who have a biological connection to the child. You don't know how does this person gonna take it. For example, a person who like, how do you call it in English? Gastrum, like this women who borrow their womb, and I don't know the term in English. But okay, this woman after, because I was thinking for a while to have children with the gay couple, and I was like, okay, I like to just experience the pregnancy and becoming a mother, but I'm also not interested to take care of the child, so I can, after birth, I can get rid of it and be like, okay, you happy, go, I'm growing up. But then also I was thinking further, I was like, how would it be really emotional? Can I really emotionally, after this process, just give up on this child or not? Which is, I still don't have any answer. If you have an answer, maybe I really, because my mind, or you have the answer to this question, I would be very happy to solve this.
I think I don't have the answer, but I think you hit the sweet spot by kind of describing that maybe we don't choose our families. Either it's a genetic outcome, or it's the environment you're surrounded by, or the circumstances in your situation that you are asked to be a mother. I think it's maybe a good point to talk about. But you can call it a burden, you can call it a blessing, but we have family and we're all citizens of the world, in your case, or citizens, or part of one religion. And then we are suddenly in a family and have debts or privileges which we have to deal with. And I think that's the same for filmmaking, to kind of come back to filmmaking.
But also, unfortunately, we have the possibility, it seems like we have the possibility to choose. Because now, for example, I can find a businessman from Hamburg and marry, have a happy life and 3 children. I can live with my gay friend who I'm at the moment like trying to build kind of a quasi-family and continue that way. I can have a child with a gay couple. And as long as it's a personal question, it's very political because I'm shaping the society with this question, with this way of articulating.
Sure. But I would empathize. It seems like we can choose, because as soon as you're in the process or having birth in, your emotions, your DNA, all come in place, and we cannot foresee the future or also ourselves. We are quite unpredictable, I think, in our actions as well.
And I think what we can really questioning is the perhaps this nuclear family model that we are very stuck in, I think. Of course, that is a very big thing to change, but I found it really questionable.
I totally agree with you, and I also find it very questionable, but the problem is there is a biological sense in it, and that's how it is created. Okay, there is a mother, there is a father, and there is a child, so we can build it. How can we come up with, because we are, like, we improved a lot, and we civilized, and so on, and now we are at a stage, maybe we can build this in a better way, but how can we come up with the alternative, which has maybe less problem than this nuclear family system has, but also still fulfills what it was fulfilled, because it is not there out of nowhere, it's there for a reason, and that's a really confusion.
No, it's okay.
You have to for the camera.
Okay, that just provoked the thought that also biology breaks this system, by I don't know, having like leaving children without parents for whatever reason, let's say because they die, and then on the other side you have gay people. So maybe there is some sort of I mean, it's maybe a bit of a controversial idea, but maybe there is a cosmic balance that tries to bring new concepts of parenthood to the children that are without parents.
With the family, like a bigger of father or mother, like with many people represent many ideas, not only 2 ideas. This is this is the way they are the people making this, like make the child like growing up in the family by the big house with many people, like in other way, not only mother and father. Yeah.
But that is quite not possible in a, for example, here in Dresden, you would not find a house or an apartment that is such big for a lot of people living in. So I knew people who are really struggling in finding a place like that, so that they can live with a lot of people together and more in a like community way. And it was not easy and nearly impossible.
Yeah, that's why we need to make the question to change and to make a question again and to try to the construction this idea. And this idea is passed for the political decision and the bureaucratic decision also.
And sorry.
No, I thought. I think first of all we have to come to a kind of a safe space where we can leave the stigmas of nuclear family. And I think in our nowadays world where we have access to the internet, the World Wide Web, and not only films, because I think in the past some filmmakers tried to make that present, and now we have this overload of information where we get used to different ideas in different parts of the world, which is great. Where I think also we see as filmmakers where we also had a nuclear filmmaker family in the past where it was very separate, very hierarchical, and nowadays we see different ways of and different possibilities to make films as I see you as well. And I think we're not there yet at all. For instance, if the system doesn't provide for houses big enough or for people to express themselves freely. We need a long way to go, but I think this is part of the job as a filmmaker to create that free space as you guys
create the new representation, because the new options and maybe the seats that you make and you insist in this, and maybe one day, like this idea also, the division of binarity of woman and man, and these different elements like that the woman and the man have, was building also with the cinema. You see, if you look at the cinema, it's built this idea. It's like affirmate this idea. Now we make the question, we have like 20 years, 10 years, like really make the question about that. It's that change the representation in the cinema, but it's never stopped. It's never stopped. We need to continue to make the question, I guess. The small question in the big world, no? Because if one film don't change the world, and one film is not change.
That's interesting, because all these films have, or you can see a concern also of the filmmakers inside the films. How important is it to change something with a film, and how can we be sure that a film serves this purpose? Have you ideas? Because to broaden the meaning of family, we could also say, like we here on the festival, we are like a family. We can be quite sure that we have almost all the same values and so on. So we can show our films and this in our filmmakers festival family. But actually, a film like yours, for example, should be shown in the Bible Belt, right?
Yeah, but of course.
Yeah, but there are cinemas in the Bible Belt, and this is, I think, one of the safe spaces we created in cinema. I think the dark room with all the people in there, and you don't actually know what you're about to see, is one of those nice, great safe spaces to discover different structures than the good old nuclear family.
Yes, and I think in our case, if you will show the film in this family, they will completely have a completely other reception of the film. So they see it in their worldview, with their glasses, and so I think, I don't know, yeah, but we should never stop asking questions. I agree.
Yeah, it's like a big responsibility we have. The creativity people, not only the cinema, the art, the literature, also like we have this responsibility to make the best to go in other ways to live, I guess.
I mean, I'm a little bit maybe more pessimist in that sense, because I'm like, okay, short film, okay, like how much change do we really like? But yeah, let's hope. I don't know if I'm a pessimist, but hope.
Yeah, I don't know if it's hope or not. You need to think about it, but it's really like there are some days you see the war and you see what happened, and the young people, maybe some stuff, you say like, well, it's the end now, yeah? But you need to keep this and to keep this idea. I don't know, I feel, but I am from Colombia, you know, and then I feel this kind of responsibility and the representation, the different representation of the people and because we have this history of colonization, so and the indigenous and the African people and the different people, the gay people also, they are not present. So when I write or I make the film, all the time I have this idea on my head, like, okay, the war is really wrong, and at the same time, I know in this way I need to put in my film my way. So yeah, it's kind of mix of hope and of the war. All the time, I think in the war.
And I think also like in Colombia probably, and also in Iran, is a bit more serious. I find art is a bit more serious and more connected with the life of people. So I don't know, for example, in Iran, you create an artwork which may cost like, you can go to prison, you can get executed, you can get like a lot of consequences. So if you really do it, it means you are like really, and people also take it with much more interest. which I honestly don't feel that in Europe yet. Maybe I didn't yet like came to see this person, but until now I didn't feel that really much in Europe. I felt usually it became a bit more distance from people's life. So it became like this gallery which you go on Sunday evening or Saturday evening, you watch some artwork, but it's very disconnected somehow in a way from real life. I find, I don't know.
So maybe adding on to what you said, last year at the Doc Leipzig Festival there was a winning feature documentary that was called, I think, Angel 69. Can you help me out?
Yeah.
And that was also taking up on queer life. I mean, it was very sad story after all. But I think to me it felt both pessimist and optimist, and it showed me a very new perspective. And now you go along with your film, so from now on, the films are adding on to my new insight into queer life in Colombia. So maybe talking about whether or not films can change, maybe not the world, but it's opening up this new perspective and world to me, and I start getting more and more information about that. And it's not only, the war and the conflict in Colombia. Now I get even more issues that are connected to that, but have their very own structures. So I think that's the strength of film.
I was just wondering, like, with all of the different media forms that you have to portray a message, to ask a question, what about film do you feel like lent itself to your question or message? Why not choose art or public speaking or something like this? Why film? Very broad question for you.
I think there will be 4 different stories, probably, why we tell the story in film.
Actually, no one of you started with cinema, right? Did you start with cinema? Because you 3 didn't.
I started with the image. Actually, I am close to the art very young. I was when I was child, in the art school for theater the Sunday, Saturday. This stuff. I was connected with the art really child. I don't know. I think the cinema is the way you make together many stuff, like art, literature, and the many you can put together to speak the people with the cinema. So I don't know. It's the way I found with the time. It's like it's the place I feel better. I was in the only photography when I was younger, and was good in this moment, but I got this feeling sometimes I want to speak more, the photo is not enough. Then I start to looking for this way. I don't know exactly, but because I love also to speak about this topic.
And nowadays you can also put it online, and that is also a possibility more to bring it under the people. But that was not, also not my first, not the reason why I started to make film. So I cannot really answer the question. I had to think about it.
I tried graphic design, visual communication, but I was really bad at it. So not that I'm good in film, but it was a little bit better than that. So no, I'm kidding. But also I think it's we're living in a time that is very difficult to get the attention that you want to get heard by other mediums, or maybe I mean social media I think is the best actually to get the attention, but if you want to be a bit more artsy version of that, then film I think.
What a great pitch. If you want to be a bit more artsy than social media, become a filmmaker. Great.
That's the most intention as an extremist of social media.
I think there is a question. Yes.
No, it's good. I have one. Talking on. It's awesome. talking about change and what the films do have impacts on society. So my question is like, do you really think films do change society? And second question is whether yes or not, whether you expect while making the films that you expect that oh this is gonna change society or whatever.
Yeah, I thought also about the same question comes to my mind when I think about when I go to a manifestation, for example. Does that really change something? So I go with a, let's say, Fridays for Future, or I don't know, something like that. So, but in the end, I think so that every little step you are taking, that brings something. I don't know. And the same is the same thing I think about filmmaking. You know? So it's not the immediate change, but the more you are doing something in that way, I think that will change something, in my mind.
Yeah. I don't know, I agree. You can change with the world, with the film, with the short film, with the feature film, you can change the world, but I want to make the question only, like to help to this change, like if you insist with the time, maybe can change. We can see a little bit, a little change. Like 20 years before, the gay people, or the woman, and the black people in the cinema, the representation was out. I didn't feel like I didn't see me in the cinema. So yeah, that's changed. That changed with the time, but it's not only one film. It's like the process. Like the process, insist, and actually. It's like you see the last century with the cinema, and the cinema make a lot in the society, give you a lot of idea how to build the society and the relationship between woman and men. Is the representation, they are there. So if you look 20 years before, that's changed. Then if you stay like in the manifestation, like you stay home and you don't do nothing. Yeah, the words continue like that because the people have this control in this way, don't want to change this stuff.
My answer gonna look, I think, a bit egoistic, but at least it's honest. And I think I just make films at the end, like I had a lot of this question in my mind that do I change anything with films and so on? But I came to an answer with myself that actually I make film only for myself and to change myself. And I think if I manage that, is already good, I'm happy. And I think like other people also can take it as that like with the form of art that you can, because to influence bigger, like I'm also feel like it's too much responsibility on my shoulder. If I'm going to change, I'm like, no, please leave me free. It's so heavy for my tiny shoulders. So I prefer to have this very personal, so it's like to change myself through going through this art making process.
Well, I think our time is running out as far as I know, which is very sad because it's been a very interesting conversation. But I think what we can take away from this is very much that when we're thinking about a concept like family, actually what we're talking about is relations and relationships and whatever shape or form they take, and that goes for the people we work with, but that also goes for our blood family in a way, and that also goes for a more metaphysical relationship that you enter when your film is being shown at a festival to an audience. And that's a relationship that you can't really control. So in that sense, it's then not a choice because you can't choose who is in the audience. Certainly loads of topics to unpick still, but it's been a very, very interesting conversation, and I thank you for sharing your thoughts and ideas and your films and bringing them to Dresden. And I hope that all of you who haven't seen the films yet are going to run to the cinemas in the next couple of days and make sure to see these films.
you.